Monday morning, August 12, 1575. Most schools are religious institutions, but today 2 new elementary schools opened. One is for boys and one is for girls. They'll learn the same curriculum to read and write, however boys will also take part in competitions, while girls will master sewing. The children will attend for about an hour a day. Some of the boys attending these schools will go on to universities in the future. However, the girls won't, as they're not permitted to go to universities. Next is popular clothing to keep your kids with the time period. Most babies wear a biggin and hold a teether. Small children under the age of 6 usually wear an ankle-length gown with hanging sleeves. But as they get a little older, most children dress in miniature versions of their parents. Many children also wear coifs indoors. And now to health. Numbers are showing that about 1 out of every 5 children born last year didn't make it to their first birthday. So be sure to keep your young ones healthy. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. Good morning. Welcome to Renaissance News. Thanks for joining us today. With us, we have Landon Martin, an expert on Renaissance homes. We'll start talking about the living spaces and furniture. So Landon, how was the personal space and privacy?
Well, most people shared rooms of the same gender, and you didn't have a lot of privacy throughout the rooms because you had to sleep with multiple people in the same room.
Did the lords clean the rooms?
No, the lords would never clean the rooms. They had servants that would always clean the rooms to the lord's standards.
What kind of sheets were on the lords' beds?
So the beds often had linen sheets, wool blankets, quilts, very long pillows, and heavy curtains around the bed. They had pretty nice beds and had a lot of expensive blankets and linen sheets on them.
Where were the household goods placed?
So they placed all their household goods into wooden chests and wooden boxes, and that's where they placed all of them.
Cool. Next we'll talk about food and feasts. What was on the table in a feast or everyday meal?
So they had a white cloth, a white tablecloth, and then they cover it with an overcloth, which is just a bigger cloth. And then they had goblets and tankards, which are just fancy cups that they put their different drinks into, and yeah.
Cool. What table manners did they have and how strict were they?
So they had rituals for finger eating. They used their fingers to eat most things on their tables except soups and meats. They would use the spoons for soups, and then they would have knives that were serrated to cut into different meats.
Cool. What is the table?
So they had a table that everybody sat at, obviously, at a meal, but then some fancy feasts had a high table, and that was where the lords or high priests or knights would sit at, or special guests.
Finally, we'll talk about water, hygiene, and bathing. So how often did people drink water, and what were the most popular drinks?
So people rarely drink water. Beer and wine were more common. They used water for soups and to dilute different alcoholic beverages if they had a lot of alcohol concentration in them. But yeah, water was not a very popular drink back then because not many people could afford or get clean water because the water was usually dirty, and lots of people got sick and died from it. So most people didn't drink water.
Did people bathe, and how often?
People didn't bathe that often. Most of them had a strong odor or must to them because they didn't bathe almost ever.
Oh. Thanks for joining us today, Landon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll see
Are you
you
bored
later.
of your current job? Are you looking for a new one? If you answered yes to both of these questions, my job agency is perfect for you. There are lots of jobs in the Renaissance, and we'll help you find the perfect fit for you. A lot of jobs depend on your social class. If you're middle class, some of your jobs include banking, trading, retailing, managing, and distributing other people's goods. If you're wealthier, then you don't really work. You have others that are hired to help you manage everything. But if you do work, some jobs include military officers, politicians, and royal advisors. If you're a woman, then your job depends on your social class. Most women from higher classes did not work because their husbands thought they were only fit to be housewives. So instead of working, most women got educations that were said to prepare them to be a housewife and just hired workers. But if you are not wealthy and you decided to work, some of the jobs would be spinning cloth, embroidery, a washerwoman, or food prep. Because men were thought to be superior, they dominated the political and legal world. They handled all the professional jobs. Some other jobs included merchants, artists, blacksmiths, stonemasons, building boats, musicians, carpenters, farmers, and so many others. If you're interested in finding a new job, call 1-800-FIND-MY-JOB today.
I got you a job here. Call now.
Stop! Don't you want to live past the age of 40? Well, with my time machine, I can make that possible.
You want to have to leave your wife a widow to take care of your kids all by herself. With all of her economic power and young kids, any man would love to remarry her. With my time machine, you'd be able to take your family to a time where you can live past the age of 60 with a high percentage of 12%. A time when your property can be split between all your kids and not just your oldest son. Or a time where all of your kids can have a share in your wealth and not just your boys. Or if no boys, all of your girls divided equally.
For $9.99, you can buy my time machine and not depend on just how much you make to see how long you live in the future. Go buy it now. Go to www.buymytimemachine.com to place your order now. Go buy it.